Hey everyone, this is Darrell as a service with some of the Regarding 365 team. We're having the usual fun of getting onto the internet and making use of YouTube. Yeah, everyone laugh at me now. The funny thing is that I have our local lines person coming to visit to actually start the process of getting fibre, so my apologies there. Today we are joined by three of our enthusiastic members of Regarding 365. And we have various different fun with teams at the moment too because of my bandwidth. I'm actually currently trying to connect to this meeting using mobile broadband. So we have Loryan, who's looks like he's navel gazing, but he's not. Say hello, Loryan. Are you there?
Hello, Loryan.
And
nice.
Up in the...
I'm actually trying to switch devices right now.
Oh, okay. And all the way from Minnesota?
Hello, I think that's me. I'm Sarah. I need to pay attention to these things. That was an intro for me.
And Mr. Nashville.
What's up? Hello, everyone. This is Daniel from Nashville. Thank you. Hi.
All right. So what do we get? What have we got together today? There was a significant announcement which got a lot of interest on the net from various media places, of course, because whenever someone touches our significant tool set that we use every day to get work done, we want to know about it. Office is changing significantly in the UI area, but how significant? And this is what we've got together to talk about today. So, guys and girls, have you seen the video? Have you seen any kind of previews of what Office looks like?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, we've seen a little bit.
Did you want to talk about it?
That would be great.
It looks pretty-ish.
Let's do it.
It looks sparse.
Sparse? Is that what you said?
Minimalistic.
Yes.
Minimalistic. Yes. It looks a whole. It reminds me of the OneNote for Windows interface. Right?
And
Yeah.
you know that has some mixed reactions. How do you feel about that, Sarah?
I think I'm going to let Daniel cover his own feelings about the new OneNote interface. You know what? I think, here's my thought. It looks minimalistic. I actually, the Word Online example demo video that they've shown us, and we haven't seen a lot, right? We have the little demo video to go from. The Word one doesn't look bad. I mean, you click on the ribbon and it's got a lot of the little icons. I mean, they're little, so you've got to focus on them a little bit. I see why they're starting with Word Online and not something like PowerPoint or Excel, where we have a lot more functions that we're probably clicking on and maybe a lot more of those toolbar buttons other than the bullet points and the indent and the outdent and things like that. To me, it feels much more like a mobile experience, but in your browser window. More white space, less stuff, almost no words, tiny little icons.
I think, we'll definitely get into this, but the definite theme there is minimalism and trying to bring to the forefront the 10 buttons that 95% of us click. Let's harken back our thoughts to the last significant change in Office. And when was that? It should be quite obvious.
2007.
2007,
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
What happened then?
Over a decade.
The ribbon. Big fat cummerbund of a ribbon, right? But it was all about kind of the same messaging, wasn't it? Let's bring to the forefront the features that you don't normally see, that we have to look. There are some menus like this still, even on intranets. How do you feel about this, guys? When you have to click on something and you're traveling around almost like this chicane of menus as you go down and you hover over something, and then that opens up another thing, and you got to go through this thin little gap there before the menu disappears, and you go down to the second and third level. That was how 2003 was, and then we got this ribbon, significant change. So it has been quite some time since we've changed.
Well, we're kind of in a micro version of that now with the ribbon, because in things like Outlook, for example, the ribbon changes context based on whether you're in Mail, whether you're in Calendar, People, Tasks. So you have a different experience in that application versus Word, where you're just in Word. So already that's a bit of a different behavior. And I think that, you know, I think I've just resigned myself to the fact that there are different clicks in different applications, and I just have to remember where I am right now, which really doesn't sound like a far-fetched, you know, expectation to have. But, I mean, look, I constantly hide and reappear the ribbon based on the application that I'm working in, based on the content that I'm working on as well. So this is, to be quite frank, I think users just need to be aware that it's not the one-size-fits-all the time.
Right.
You bring up users, and I think that's an important thing to keep in mind as we're rolling this out to users who have been used to seeing the same icons and all that. And the icons, from what we could see, are very, very similar, but they're going to change, and they're going to be smaller, and we're removing words, right? So
should we take a look at that?
Getting some used to that. Sure, why not?
Yeah, let's cut to that. So I know that I showed you guys, and I haven't shared my screen yet in Teams, but we'll just bring that up. So everyone else on the recording or the live stream has seen this. It is a good comparison that we managed to find on a ZDNet article, and this was showing the icons back from far out, as far back as 1990. Was it called Office back then? What was it called?
It wasn't until Office 95 that it was actually the Office suite, because up until then it was Word
individual
5.0.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and so you can see the progression there of 2007 and 2016. Office 365, that top line is what they put together to show the new icons, it would seem. I think it is. But I think, Loryan, you said earlier too, there hasn't been much change from the save icon as this diskette, the manila folder to show a folder. Yeah. Sarah, what do you think about these icons?
They're getting smaller and smaller. Yeah. For those of us that might need glasses like me, you know, that's the thing that I thought of. Although rendering these on different size screens and different devices, it makes sense that they want to go with something that's a little bit more minimalistic, and that they're focusing on scale and scalability. I think that makes a lot of sense. I just hope they don't make them microscopic buttons, because then I'm going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
So I think the relevant size is the hardest part. Oh no.
Dan's busted.
Yes, I understand that, you know, they're trying to make the same experience across desktop and mobile, but and so reducing the icons helps do that and all that. But our screens are getting bigger. On our laptops, on our computers, they're all getting bigger. So on our humongous 34-inch widescreen wraparound monitors, we're going to have these little bitty icons that we're going to have to click on. And so that's the part that I'm like, because they're wanting that experience to be the same, they're having to develop the look and feel for the lowest common denominator, which is one of these. I mean, and am I going to really do full authoring on a Office document on my phone? Am I really? I may get in there and edit and look at it, but I'm not going to. I'm sorry, and I don't think most people will either. I think they will on their iPad or on their, you know, but on a little bitty phone, I just don't think so.
I think
maybe you need a bigger phone, because I author things on my phone all the time. But I really do.
But do you author them, or do you just edit them? Because I'm quite happy to go into a document or a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint and make changes on my phone. But would I create one from scratch? Absolutely not.
If I'm going to make changes, generally I do authoring on my phone, but I will admit that it's not generally in one of the Office applications. But I will use an app for example, blog posts and things like that, I will author those all the time on my phone on the go. And they have a more simplistic interface as well. So if you look at beyond the Microsoft Office mobile apps, maybe Microsoft is really looking for parity with some of the other platforms that are available.
Do you do a lot of, Sarah, do you do a lot of formatting on your information in your blog post? I mean, you probably have some some headers, but you don't, do you do
headers,
heavy
bold,
formatting?
Italics, underlines. I wouldn't do heavy formatting on my mobile device, no. So, but if you are looking at it, do I use 10 commands or less on my formatting on my blog post on my mobile phone? Yeah, I use 10 commands or less. So the model works very well.
So I think to that point as well, I probably only use 10 commands or less in PowerPoint. I probably use 10 commands. I definitely use less than 5 commands in Excel because thanks to the Tell Me feature, I just say, hey, tell me what I want to do here. I don't actually have to remember what it is I'm trying to do. So I think the combination of the Tell Me feature means that we don't have to really remember where things are as much. I think that kind of contributes to you only do 10 things. Whereas, most of the time in Word, I'm pretty much going to my styles and maybe inserting a few other things. So, absolutely. I think most people probably use, 10 things or less.
Yeah, let me jump in there about icon sizes. And we are getting monitors that are higher and higher resolution. I find the scaling is working quite well in everything but Skype for Business. So it will scale to the right size, and I think the new icons not only have been designed to help us see things more clearer and render quickly, but apparently there's been some focus on trying to make it easier from an accessibility point of view for that wider audience, for everyone to be able to use the interface. Hey, let's get into thinking about these 3 C's that were mentioned in the video, and maybe we can just we'll go through maybe the video and just take a quick look, because I know some people have seen parts of it and looked at the interface and thought, are we going to be stuck with this little ribbon, and what does that mean? So I think let's just take a quick look. We'll pause as we go throughout, and pass comments as we go. So let's roll the film. This one. And go.
We are in office.com, and you'll see when I scroll over things, they pull forward with shadow and depth. We're bringing the fluent design.
Oh, brilliant. Let's try that again.
I don't see any go.
Technology is not your friend today, Darrell.
Not today, not at all. Oh, come on now.
It's time to adopt a paper notepad and pen.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, while you're doing that, I wanted to mention something. We were talking about,
Here we are in
we only
office.com.
use 10 this, 10 that, things in different applications. The thing I wanted to mention is that if you'll remember when the ribbon came out in 2007, there was a big change happened between 2007 and 2010. And that's because in 2007 it came out and everybody's like, great, but I don't like the way you've organized it. I want to add my own stuff. I need to be able to edit that ribbon, and you couldn't. And in 2010, it was introduced. You were able to edit and be able to move your own icons, create your own groupings. And so if you use 10 of them, put it in its own grouping and put it right there so you have constant access to it. That's kind of what came back to my mind when I saw this was, that's great, Microsoft, you're grouping stuff the way you want it to, but this kind of brings me memories back to 2007 of, okay, but now how am I going to find the stuff that I do use?
But I think to that point though, Darrell, Daniel. I was looking at a picture of Darrell. I think to that point, the reality is that I think that people don't even know that feature exists in the first place. So that's part of the whole problem of Office is people just don't know the features exist.
Well, I've got the video going again. Sorry, Sarah, you go ahead.
I also think that we need to come back to the topic, Darrell, of users, because I think Daniel touched on something really important, which is that users were infuriated when the 2007, when the ribbon came out, because they couldn't find anything. And they had memorized where things were on the drop-down menus back in the day. And I think that we're likely to see some user frustration as this rolls out as well. Not that a streamlined interface isn't a great thing, but if they move anything around when you expand to the full toolbar, if things look different, if they can't figure out where they are, I think we need to anticipate that there's going to be some users run amok there and some dissatisfiers.
Right. Okay, let's see if we can get this playing again.
And you'll see when I scroll over things, they pull forward with shadow and depth. We're bringing the Fluent design system that's across Microsoft to the web and to Office, and evolving Fluent as we go. So I'm going to jump into a document, and I've opened Word, and you'll notice that it opened very fast. Office is rebuilt on a modern platform to be faster.
PowerPoint with a lowercase p.
Here's the new simplified ribbon.
Let's not forget that one too.
And I'll click through some of the tabs so you can see some of the...
Or perhaps what they're saying is it's time to ditch the uppercase P in both of those.
Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by spelling mistakes.
No.
Let's get back to the interface. And I know you guys can be seeing a slightly delayed thing there, but at the bottom of my screen, I'm showing you Office Online as it is as we're experiencing, and at the top of the screen we see the preview of how it will look.
Yep. And I think if you look at that comparison, word count's not there. But being able to, make comments, being able to check accessibility, all that's still there. So I'm not, from my perspective, I'm not against this change. It's just, I think there's some things that, let's not tout it as the best thing since sandwich meat, right? It's good, and I kind of like it, but I also like the bigger buttons. We're talking about accessibility, yet we're making things smaller. That doesn't jive with me at all. So anyway,
and harder for people to click on if it's a tiny little icon. I think it's important to look at why they're rolling this out in Office Online first, and the desktop apps are going to be, they've said, are going to follow eventually, but that they're going to take more care before they start touching those desktop apps. And there's a good reason for that, right? Because people using the browser-based version of these apps, you already have slightly less functionality. People are not likely to get quite as up in arms. I think it's a great opportunity to test out these functions. I think messing with the ribbons and the desktop apps, I think that there's a great opportunity to make them more crisp, to make them more clean, to offer more functionality, to be able to have a minimized view of the ribbons versus more of the traditional maximized view. But I'm glad that they're not starting to roll this out in the desktop apps right away.
So what happens
is my Pizzagate conspiracy theory here. My Pizzagate conspiracy theory here is that this is actually being pushed by Teams. Because if you think about when you open a document in Teams, it's actually opening Office Online. It just hasn't dumped you out to a separate browser. So I think that this is to maximize the amount of document viewing space that you have when editing a document in Teams, because otherwise you've got the Teams ribbon in effect as well as the Office Online ribbon. So by shrinking the web-based version first, it makes the team experience more improved. Poor English there. Improves the team's experience, which means you are less likely to then open the document in Word itself. So, as I said, that's my conspiracy theory.
Well, and I think, talking about that, go ahead.
Animation that we've put inside of the ribbon. This is also part of our Fluent design system. There's speed and velocity, and you'll notice that the line underneath the tabs animates in place. And these icons were designed to be inclusive and accessible from the get-go. They're higher contrast, and we use color in just the right places to help people find the commands they're looking for.
Yes.
For people who prefer to dedicate more screen space to showing commands, they can expand the ribbon into the classic view with all of the commands in place.
All right. So that's where the large buttons are hiding. So our default is the minimalistic view, and you'll see this again a little bit further along. I might just click to jump to it. The top 10 buttons that we press, but hiding behind that is the familiar ribbon that we know and love, and everyone will be happy with. I'll just see if I can.
So I think that the word is you'll be able to switch to the switch back to the old ribbon, and I don't know. And we just saw that showing the bigger. I just don't. If that means I'm able to say I want to switch back to the old ribbon permanently, or if that just means what you just did, what we just saw in the video, right? You just it just clicks on it and it goes down, and then next time I visit it, it goes back. Yeah,
so
that's right.
Office Online,
so
I expect
you're right.
The default
right.
will be minimized for Office Online, but if I just skip ahead a little more, we'll mute this off here and find out where that is.
That goes to your point too from earlier, Neil. If you expand the ribbon to see the full ribbon in the new version, we're kind of assuming that full ribbon will only appear for the duration of when you have that document or that desktop application open, and that the next time that you close it and reopen it, it will show you the minimized ribbon again. But we don't know that for sure yet. No.
Or will it just, when you click onto the document to start typing, will it go away and go back to the minimal? I don't know.
Right, so this is Word on the desktop now. So this is the app that most people will use, and it is showing a full size ribbon. You've got the button down there to be able to minimize and change the size of it. So we're seeing all the same zones and everything kind of looks the same. The icons are obviously a bit different, but it did start out as being that minimalistic view that you can expand. So we're hoping to see somewhere in there some settings to say, this is my preferred experience. I want it expanded, please, to begin with. Yeah,
maybe so. And some people may, really love the minimalistic, and I may love it. I don't know. I will say I really don't love it in the OneNote for Windows application, which is what this, is very similar with. But maybe I will like it, and especially. So the first Windows application that will be getting this is Outlook, and that'll be getting it in July, Microsoft said. So Office Online right now, and then Outlook first. I think I actually am okay with Outlook having this because it's a different work stream type, right? Different than creating and editing documents where it's email. It's different. But I also on the same, on the other side of the coin, I don't like having a different experience for the different Office apps.
Agreed.
So, although I like it for Outlook, I dislike then having to switch to Word and it be totally different.
It's kind of
not totally different. It's just different, right?
Well, I think it's like the equivalent of having Office 2016 on your machine. Outlook 2016 on your computer, but Office 2013 for all the other apps. It's kind of same, but different, and it's slightly different enough to throw you off. So I agree with you. I think it should be roll it out at the same time to all of them.
Sarah, how do you think this is going to land with the regular people who just want to use Office and get in there? If they were to get an upgrade tomorrow, what do you think we would need to message and tell people about to prepare them for this change? We may have lost Sarah.
Oh no.
Potentially. Guys, what do you think?
We'll ask her when she comes back.
Yeah, that's right. I think to let people know that things. There we go. Sarah's dropping off or leaving. That people do need to know and what to expect. But what I would focus on is showing them that here's where you would find the ability to expand that ribbon, and as soon as we can get our hands on an early copy to see if that's something that we can set as the default experience, giving people choice.
Well, I think this video you're showing with the side by side would be a huge benefit for users. Take screenshots and use a communication site or create your own video or create a PowerPoint or Word documents. Do something. Use an email and just say, here's the comparison. It's not that different. Explain to people that they can still use it and it still works and all that. So that's what I would do if I was trying to land this with my users. Just put a little diagrammed together and saying, here are the differences. It would be interesting to know the telemetry on Office usage. What is it percentage-wise for desktop versus online? And they're giving this to online first. I'm wondering, are they going to be hitting a large percentage of users, or are they going to be hitting a smaller? I don't know. I think that would be interesting, but that's what I would do for users. I would just create a nice little document that says, here's the comparison of the way it is now and the way it is going to be, and look, it's very, very similar. Don't get lost.
Much like was done in Office 2003 to 2007.
Yeah, we had those
create
nice
those kind of
PDF
differences
documents. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we used to call those differences documents. Sorry about that. Something might have crashed. It wasn't my computer. I won't say what it was, but something crashed. And I heard Darrell say something about, so Sarah, what do you think of? And then all of a sudden everything went dead.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, definitely. So I was asking, and Dan sort of filled in there. What do you think we would have to do to prepare end users if they were about to get this upgrade and tomorrow they were going to receive it on their desktops? What sort of things would you point out to help soften the blow and let them get productive again on day one after the upgrade?
One of the things that I'd be very interested in is if Microsoft actually would break down. They've told us that the most commonly used features based on analytics are the ones that are still on those minimized ribbons. I think I'd start with the things that people use every day. So if we pick Word, for example, where are the things that they use most often and where are they? And how can we make that consumable for people in small chunks? So can we create a little video that basically shows them how to do bullets, how to do numbers, how to do all of the highlighting and the typical things that they do in Word? The problem is that once you leave that, they say that most people, 95% of the features are the same 10 or 15 commands, but that when you get to the 5% that are left, everybody does different things, right? So everyone's still going to be hunting for some of the things that they need. I'd also highlight one of the things that I actually really liked in the demo video that we saw. And I don't know, Darrell, if we can go back to the Word examples, but when they were showing the co-authoring, they're now giving a little bit more real estate to the pictures of the people that are going to be co-authoring, and they're assigning colors to each individual person. And they're giving them, and you can see it right here on your screen, Darrell, the little orange rectangular box that indicates someone is typing there, and now they're color-coded. I think it's actually a vast improvement in the co-authoring capabilities. So I would highlight that as well. It makes it much easier to see who is where editing in the document.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if that commenting feature, so that chat that they've got going, if that's Teams powered or something else powered.
Well, we've recently heard at the SharePoint conference that you will be able to mention people within just the commenting feature we've had for years and years in Word. That if we wanted to say, hey, Lynn, I really think you should put some more work into this paragraph, you can mention her and pull her into it as a conversation. I think we're seeing yet another conversation stack is the problem. It's not really backed by
Yes, I think this is exactly that. That's right.
Well, that's why I'm hoping
that's exactly what this is.
Well, that's what I'm hoping, that it is actually the Teams chat service that's providing that mention and conversation capability inside of the document, because it would make a lot more sense that it is the one chat service that's across it all, because then you can mention me and perhaps it shows up in my Teams notification and I can click on it and it takes me to the document to that specific point where I've got to do what I've got to do. So here's hoping, fingers crossed, we'll see what this looks like, more news to come. I guess we'll probably see some of these things at Ignite, to be honest.
Yeah, see it beforehand, I think, in Office Online. So, yep.
Just another one there as I switch back to show on screen. That's your Outlook expanded menu. So we look, the icons look different, but what I would say to people on day one is, while the icons look different, your buttons are still where they are, as far as I can see. Interesting, this switch there to say coming soon, giving the end user the ability to see, what is going to be coming. So that they're not just driving it now at the message center level or blog posts, but they're pushing that coming soon information directly in front of the end users to say, this is important. Now I know some orgs are going to have a problem with that because they are very tied around what they communicate to their end users. They don't want Microsoft's templated, emails or whatever to be sent through. But that's an interesting feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now was there anything else in here? Well, there's your example.
It is an awful nice gift that they are changing what the icons look like, but not necessarily where they are. I think that will go a long way towards helping to smooth the waters as they roll this out. If they shuffled everything in addition to changing the icons, that's when, people lose their cool, and justifiably so if they're very tied into the look and feel of things.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing that I noticed here in the video, and just pointing out there too, we'll just switch back to that comparison on the desktop. There's zero search capability when you're clicking into the search box, that it picks up on what sort of activity, apps, people you've interacted with, things you've searched for before. We've kind of got most of it there, as I'm showing here on the left is Office 365 as it is now, and on the right a person that the demo user has interacted with. Similarly within Outlook, we do have a very similar experience.
That's right. Yeah, I noticed that the two things I noticed here was the people showing up, and the second was at the bottom of that it says search M365. I thought that was interesting.
It's all M365 now. It's not Office 365.
Well, that's not true, and you know that. It's M365. Microsoft 365 encompasses Office 365.
No. It's all branding now. I wrote a blog post about this a while ago where Office 365 will not be Office 365. It'll be Office. Like Windows 10 will stop being Windows 10 at some point and just be Windows. So it will be Microsoft 365, which encompasses Office.
I get that. I think that's not the way it is now. And so that's why I thought it was interesting that it said search M365 there, is because that's not the way it is now.
You're right.
So
PowerPoint also has an uppercase P, and so does SharePoint, and there's that.
That's true. So who knows? This could be
things will be changing.
Yeah, so it'll be different. So anyway, yeah.
So just moving away, I guess, from the interface changes. So last sort of thoughts around preparing people and a way for an organisation to approach this. There'll still be organisations that have set themselves quite firmly on the, what is it called, not the deferred channel, the semi. Look, help me out here, guys. The names have changed so often. Semi-update, bi-yearly.
Semi-annual or something.
Semi-annual update.
Yep.
There's beta and production.
No,
give
the
me new features every
which
month.
It's the business channel, right? That basically you don't get the updates for 6 months or something, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So twice yearly for a targeted group, so that you can test it out with a small set of people. Or give it to me every month, and I'll take it as it comes. So keep that in mind as we approach the date of when this is going to be released and what sort of changes are going to occur. You are in control as IT pros and admins when this sort of thing is released, and if you haven't considered this way of releasing features in a slower fashion so you can prepare your people, then this might be a good consideration as we go into it. But in my opinion, like the changes that are coming, I like to work minimalist. I'll make use of that minimal bar, and it's a comfort to me knowing that it's a click away to find the full set of what I usually see on the cummerbund of a ribbon that we have had for a number of years. Yeah, that was difficult. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. We even seemed to trim the end off of our recording as well. But hopefully this video has helped to give you some insight into, or give you some things to think about with softening the blow and letting people know about Office 2019 when it comes out. It's not going to be as difficult as some of us are thinking, that all our familiar bits and pieces in the ribbon menu are still there. So thanks to Loryan, to Sarah, and to Daniel for tuning in, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.